Coming to you from the rural wasteland of northern New York, it's Vegan Freak Radio number 91 on the 20th of May, 2008.
Coming to you from high atop their elite fortress of moral superiority, here are your protein-deficient hosts, Bob and Jenna.
Hello, everybody.
This is Bob.
And Jenna.
And we're back again for another edition of Vegan Freak Radio. The moral fortress, the elite fortress of moral superiority. The only place we can afford the real estate for it is in the rural wasteland of northern New York. And it really is a rural wasteland.
It is.
It really is.
But, you know, it's at least a lot more bearable now that it's, like, slightly warmer than before.
Yeah, you know, it used to be like negative 20, and now it's like,
now it's like
40. Or, I don't know, what the hell would that be in Celsius?
I don't know.
Jeez.
You know what? We lived in Spain for a year, and we live right next to Canada, and we listen to the CBC all the time, and I still cannot do the Celsius Fahrenheit conversion.
I know roughly.
I vaguely know, like, where things are, but, you know, I couldn't tell you what 40 degrees is.
What is 40 degrees? I know room temperature's around 20-ish, right? So, you know.
Yeah,
I
know like 15 Celsius is pretty bearable.
Well, it's about
like
15.
60.
I'm looking right now. It's actually colder in Flint. Anyway, people don't give a shit about our fucking weather.
No, they don't.
It's about 15 degrees here.
Okay.
Right now. Okay, quick show this week because, I don't know. We told you we'd be back every week. Whether we have a lot or we have a little, we're going to be back.
Yeah, some weeks we'll have a lot, and this week we have a little.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to think about, like, maybe doing a sensitive New Age vegan segment. Or maybe doing a Things Aren't As They Used to Be segment. But I was kind of busy today, and I didn't really have time to put it together. So if you have any ideas for what you would like to hear from a sensitive New Age vegan segment, if you have questions about aligning your chakras, or, like, for those of you that don't know about the sensitive New Age vegan, it's a little segment we do. It's meant as a joke. Some people took it very seriously, I think, very oddly. Because I came on, I was talking about, like, aligning chakras and stuff, man. Like, and energies. And I played some, like, crazy music in the background. That was probably about 30 or 20 shows ago.
That was a long time ago.
So anyway, that was probably around show 70 or something, 20 shows ago. But if you have ideas you would like to talk about, let us know. And things aren't as they used to be. Things are never as they used to be.
No, they aren't.
So, anyway. What we have for you this week are a couple articles that come out of the conventional press. And as you know, we've bitched and moaned on here before about Newsweek and Time. And we have things for you from Newsweek and Time.
Well, I think it's interesting, though. I've seen an uptick in articles in the conventional press about food. I think because of the global food crisis and the prices rising, and milk and meat are really expensive. But, of course, you know, grain's also expensive. That's why milk and meat are expensive, is grain. But
yeah. In the MSM.
MSM?
The mainstream media.
Ew. Okay.
Are you not down with the internet fucking intelligentsia, man?
No, I'm not down with your lingo, man.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, there are actually, I think, more articles sort of analyzing the whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a couple of them.
Am I going first, or are you going first?
Sure, go ahead.
I'll go first. As you might find shocking, this article is about
Happy meat.
Yes, the voice of Vegan Freak Radio. We will actually, if you have any good suggestions for the voice of Vegan Freak Radio, we'd like to get him back to do our voice talent back to do some good things too.
Yeah.
Anyway, this article is called wait for it, a chain that pigs would die for.
It's of course not so funny because they actually do.
I know. And the kind of second title is, Can Food Be Fast and Fastidious? Chipotle Mexican Grill insists on humanely raised meat. And there's a picture in the article of many, very happy-looking... Jesus Christ.
Can you hear? I wonder if they can hear that.
I don't think so.
No, it's not registering.
Maybe now. Anyway, it is the Imperial U.S. death machines flying over our house because there's a military base about, 90 minutes away.
Uh-huh.
And they fly, just so you know, they fly practice runs over where we live.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes they fly so low we can see the details on the plane.
Yes, they have that. People come outside because it really shakes the entire house. What they do is there's a river. We live across the street from a river. And as you know, there are people who live, if you've listened to the show long enough, you know there are people across the street from us who have babies that should be eaten by dingoes. But where there's a river, it's a big river, and there are a lot of dams and bridges on it. And so what I was told they do is fly training missions up and down the river, locking on to the dams and the bridges.
It's target practice.
Yeah, it's target practice. Yeah. So anyway, I hope they don't blow up any of the bridges I need to get out of here, because it's bad enough to be stuck here. Anyway, this article, if you do hear the American death machines, if you're a U.S. citizen, your tax dollars hard at work. If you're not, run and hide, because they're coming for you next. Anyway, a chain that pigs would die for. Chipotle Mexican Grill insists on humanely raised meat. And I'll just read you. I mean, the article is interesting. I want to read you a bunch of it because I think it points out many really central critiques that come up in this whole question about the distinction between welfare and abolition, right? Mm-hmm. This whole thing about, do we fight for the abolition of animal exploitation, or do we try to improve the conditions for animals that are already in positions of exploitation? And if you go and listen to the previous interviews we've done on the show with Carrie Francione, or you read things that I've written or the things that we've said before, one of the arguments against welfarism is that it improves profitability for animal exploiters. And this article points that out quite cogently. Okay, so Russ Kremer still chuckles when he remembers the day Steve Ells, CEO of fast food chain Chipotle Mexican Grill, called to ask if he could land his corporate jet at the Frankenstein, Missouri airport. Airports in quotes. Kremer's hometown, a picturesque farming village in the foothills of the Ozark Mountains, has a population of 30 and more rolling hills, creeks, and pastures than paved roads. You couldn't find a level spot bigger than a dining room table, he says. Less than 1 week later, Ells and a small entourage of Chipotle executives touched down in nearby Jefferson City and drove to Kremer's 150-acre farm. They had come to ask about buying naturally raised pork from Kremer and a group of local farmers who had banded together to form a cooperative. Under the Heritage Acres label, the farmers dedicated themselves to raising hogs humanely, layering the floors of their pens with hay, giving them access to fresh air, and eschewing such practices as clipping their tails and plying them with antibiotics. The co-op's approach jibed with what Ells was trying to do at Chipotle. In 2000, the classically trained chef and company founder committed to serving humanely raised, sustainably grown food at his restaurants, including meat and dairy products that are free of antibiotics and hormones. A few days later, Chipotle handed Heritage Acres its first major contract for 5,000 pounds of pork per week, which it has raised to 10,000 pounds, about 7% of Chipotle's total take. They ensured our survivability, says Kremer, who's since been able to add 15 new farms to his co-op. So the article goes on to kind of trace the rise in the concern about quote-unquote naturally raised or humanely raised food, you know, going through the typical kinds of things that we always see, right? You can probably take a wild guess at this point who's going to be mentioned. You want to take a guess?
Michael Pollan?
Could be. Could
ding,
be.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yes, indeed. We need a ding, ding, ding,
Yes,
ding,
we
ding,
do.
ding, ding, ding noise. We don't have one of those. This is the best we have.
Not quite.
Michael Pollan. Just when you thought it was safe to go back to the grocery store. Okay, anyway, and it goes on to talk about Michael Pollan and how Chipotle has been trying to serve organic and, you know, all that crap. It says Chipotle uses few USDA certified organic products and instead follows its own, sometimes less stringent protocol. Pigs destined for a Chipotle carnitas burrito receive no antibiotics. Sorry. Eat a vegetarian diet and must have they eat the chick. What? Okay. The pigs eat a vegetarian diet and must have access to either open pasture or deeply bedded pens. The pigs eat vegetarian diet. Why don't the people? Anyway, unlike organically raised animals, their feed does not have to be organic and pesticide free. Both protocols allow pigs to spend their lives indoors in crowded conditions. Though farmers like Kremer shun that practice. Now here's the kicker. Mm-hmm. Chipotle's eco-friendly makeover is about more than just its social conscience. It's been great for business, too. Chipotle's revenues have grown tenfold to reach $1.1 billion. Its stock price has more than doubled since January 2006 when the company went public to $100 a share. It now operates more than 700 restaurants around the country and expects to open an additional 130 to 140 before the year's end. And it goes on to say, too, that the switch to naturally raised pork, what is called naturally raised pork, was partly about marketing as well, right? This is the guy who is the producer. And so what the article points out is that hog prices were starting to fall in 1999 and that a lot of the people that were producing hogs in Missouri were forced out of production because they couldn't afford to stay in. And this guy says, we saw the writing on the wall that the markets were starting to become concentrated. Our days were numbered unless we wanted to go raise hogs for the big guys. Kremer wanted to stay small. For one thing, it's the only way he knows how to farm. And it talks about how his family came in 1820 and all this other crap, you know, blah, 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 small farm, all that. what he also says is that, I think this is really important because this is one of the arguments I've made in the book I wrote, which is we knew we had to set ourselves apart in order to gain market access.
Mm-hmm.
And what he says here is, with the help of a corporate marketing executive, the farmers who came together with this cooperative designed their Heritage Acres logo, a sun setting over verdant pastures, and the rest is history. Though the group has yet to see a consistent profit, Kremer believes that business from Chipotle and other large companies like Whole Foods has saved them from the abyss. And so what we have here then is the use of this kind of, compassionately raised, humanely raised stuff as a way of actually helping people who exploit animals stay in business longer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a profitable niche market.
Yep, you can get quite a top dollar.
Yeah. So what the point of all that long and boring reading that I just did for you is essentially that. Oh shit!
Whoops.
That was actually an accident. I'm like, I didn't actually. I just hit the mouse. I was like,
you were gesticulating.
I was gesticulating wildly, and
you hit the mouse.
What did you say about my testicles? Anyway, I was testiculating wildly and gesticulating wildly, and I hit the mouse button, and it just randomly hit us down on our soundboard. The point being that this is another example where the whole concentration of these kinds of humane standards is something that ends up being more profitable for the businesses that are actually exploiting animals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of talking. You have to say something now.
Okay. So yeah, it does nothing to diminish demand at all. It keeps these people in business, like you just said. It creates, this niche market.
Yeah.
And what my question is, then how are these, if there's so much for demand for this stuff, how are these people going to stay small? There's not enough land in the world to support humanely raised meat for the current level that we have now.
I agree. It's going to become another one. This is exactly what's going to happen. I mean, it's going to become a wealthy niche market.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be like this, catered to a very exclusive group of people.
Mm-hmm.
There will be the market for those exclusive group of people, and industrialized agriculture will continue to move on.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the things that I'm not opposed to making conditions better for animals, but
Right.
but like we said on the last show, I think the thing to do is promote veganism. That's the only thing that cuts to the heart of the matter.
Exactly.
So, and you can see that this is becoming increasingly a better marketing tool.
Mm-hmm.
And it's making people feel better about what they're eating.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, don't worry, you're eating happy pigs. You're eating pigs that lived a very happy life.
I know. And it's a shame because people want to be able to care about what they eat. People have this thing that they don't want to eat, things that have been raised cruelly.
That's right.
But they can't get out of the paradigm of, well, don't eat meat at all. They have to be in this I must eat meat paradigm. And it's because then people create these markets for things like happy meat.
They do indeed.
It's a shame.
It is a shame. And I think we could really do better than that.
We could.
And I think we need to do better than that.
Definitely.
So, what else?
So this happens, there's another article, it's not really about happy meat, but it's more about the kind of demand.
The happy fish.
And happy fish, yeah, essentially.
No, not really.
In that, when you have the demand for this stuff, that when the paradigm doesn't change, that things just shift from one area to another. And
Right.
then, if things get better, then they just go back to the old ways. This is called empty net syndrome. A disastrous crash in Pacific salmon closes the season. Fishermen wonder, will they come back? And this is from Newsweek also. It starts off, Bill Dawson, the owner of San Francisco's seafood suppliers, have been in the salmon business for 35 years. Dawson has seen California's salmon harvest rise and fall, but this year's crash is unprecedented in his lifetime. The salmon, he says, have gone off the cliff. It's disastrous. For the first time, federal and state fisheries officials have closed the season in California and in most of Oregon. The reason? Only 90,000 fish returned last fall to the Sacramento River Chinook Run, down 90% from just a few years ago. Experts blame the plunging numbers on water diversions for agriculture and communities. In some years, more than half the Sacramento's water is siphoned off. Pollution, dams that have cut off salmon from their upstream spawning grounds, and unfavorable, I can't talk today, ocean conditions that diminish the food sources in the Pacific. The near shutdown of the northwestern harvest is bad news for region's economy, but also for seafood lovers nationwide. Poor babies. Wild-caught Pacific Chinook, considered the filet mignon of salmon due to his rich flesh. Yes.
Rich flesh. That's hard to say.
I want to say rich fresh.
Rich fresh.
Loaded with heart-healthy fats, will be in short supply this summer. The connoisseur is going to have to pay for this premium product.
Not vegan.
And it goes on later on to say, for foodies, wild caught is to farmed fish what free-range grass-fed beef is to feedlot cattle. A product superior in taste and environmental footprint. How is it environmentally sound to overfish and eat all of these wild fish stock? How is that environmentally sound? I mean, I guess it's supposedly better than a fish farm, for whatever reason.
Well, fish farms are incredibly toxic.
Yeah.
But the thing that we're getting at here, though, is that what we're doing is, rather than examining the root causes, which are this kind of suburban sprawl and the desire to consume fish and all these other things, what this article talks about is how we need to shift to eating different varieties of fish.
Yeah, exactly. For like Alaskan fish, it goes on to say, like, some supposedly environmental group calls for eating fish from Alaska instead.
So it's like, why not look at the root causes, which are, again, these human-made problems, instead of, trying to shift it. We're just shifting the problem. We're not really dealing with it at the root. We're not dealing with the problem of human exploitation of animals in the environment. We're just shifting the problem away and saying, we'll just eat different, less, quote-unquote, less desirable species as we go on.
Exactly.
And this is why the oceans are going to be fished out in 50 years.
Exactly. And then, okay, say the fish do come back. Well, then people will just go back to eating the fish again, and the same problem will happen over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It's a shame. And what is it for? For taste.
That's right, because people want to eat fish.
Exactly. And they think it tastes good, and they want these supposed omega-3s, and even though there are other places you can get them. And, suddenly they're considered, they want to take care of their health.
I mean, haven't these people heard of walnuts and flaxseed, for fuck's sake?
Apparently not.
Jesus, God. Frustrating.
It is frustrating.
It is indeed. It is indeed. I need to play some funny sounds to make me feel better.
All right.
Let's see. What should I play? I don't know.
Tampered in dark-sided stuff!
That's what we're doing. We're tampering in dark-sided stuff. What else?
So we have this other last article. Do you want to read it, or do you want me to read it?
No, I don't want to read it.
Okay.
I'm feeling really today. Having a hard time putting together words.
I apparently cannot articulate my words correctly either. I think my mouth is like dry or something.
Drink water.
I am.
Do you know that woman on our local NPR?
Yeah. Oh, stop. That's horrible.
She's all water. Her voice sounds moist. She's like,
I hate that.
Moist.
That's nasty.
Isn't that gross? I know it grosses you out. That's why I do it sometimes.
Thanks.
How come you don't kill me? I always wonder this. Like, why have you not killed me? It's been years and years, and I am, by all accounts, a pretty annoying guy. We actually have, let me just give you a quick example of how annoying I am. We have this, I should go get it.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No.
I'm going to go get it.
No.
Yes.
No.
Okay, you keep talking.
No.
Tell them about it.
Oh, all right. Well, here, our power goes, living in rural America, our power goes out a lot. Like, just, we wake up and we hear things go beep and our power goes out for what unknown reason, and then it comes back on in a few minutes. And I have no idea why this happens. It happens when it's windy. It happens...
It happens
when
a
goose
squirrel
farts.
Yeah, I was going to say a squirrel farts and our power goes out. But we have this. It's called the Forever flashlight, a 10-in-1 lantern that is solar and dynamo powered. So you can put it outside and you can crank it, and it's got all these neat things on it. It's got a radio, and it's got other neat stuff too. Like, for example, it's got a flashlight. Flashlight's not working, is it?
It's because you didn't power it up enough.
It's got a flashlight, but it also has a siren, and it flashes and blinks, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll stop that. So anyway, being the child that I am, I love this thing because it's two flashing red lights on the back, and it blinks and it does all kinds of neat shit. See, you can even turn the siren down and up. Anyway, I love this thing, and I just there are times when I have it in our bedroom near the bed because I forget why we were...
Because the power went out when we were going to bed one
Yeah,
night.
right, so I carried up, and there are times that I will just crank this thing up and just run around and do the little siren noise. And I'm like, okay, yes, I have a PhD, and you're only young once, you could be immature forever.
Right.
So you know, what the hell? And I wonder, like, I do this. I'm like, I just put that thing on and just like run around the room. And Jenna is like, looks at me like, you are such a fucking idiot. Isn't that how you
Pretty
do?
much, I give you the dirty look. Yeah.
I get the dirty look, and I'm like, how can you not enjoy this? This is awesome.
Gee, how can I not enjoy the annoying siren sound? I don't know.
But it's there's not a part of you that enjoys just making this making noise like
If
that.
I were making the noise, yeah, but you're the one making the noise.
I can make the noise. I can make a little bit of the noise, then you could have it and make the noise
okay,
too.
okay.
But you don't even seem interested. Like me, if you were to make a noise like that, I would want to hear it and play with it myself. Mm-hmm. No.
I don't know. I don't know if that would be true.
Why not? You're really quiet anyway, so yeah. Okay, so that diversion is just simply my way of wondering why Jenna has not killed me yet. Because I am generally a child and I'm generally fairly annoying. So I wonder why.
I'm used to it.
I wonder why you have not killed me yet.
I don't know.
I don't know. But you see, some of my ideas are good ones.
They are.
A number of years ago, I said to you, we're going to do a podcast. And you were like, we're going to do what? We're not going to do a podcast. Screw that shit. I'm like, look, we'll just get on and talk for 15 minutes. That's it. You're like, meh. How many years has it been? Tell me.
Almost 3.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
So some of my crazy ideas are actually okay.
They are.
Back to the show.
Okay. Anyway, this is I guess this is news is sort of getting old by now.
Yes,
but,
it is. But we're behind.
Yeah, we are. But this is an interesting analysis, and a couple of people, like after it happened, a lot of people emailed us anyway. So we thought I should at least bring it up. And it is, of course, the death of 8 Bells, the horse is the Kentucky Derby. Yeah, that horse race.
That one.
That one.
That one.
That one. Anyway, there's this really short commentary in Time magazine that I thought was actually an interesting analysis, and it's very short, so I'll read the whole thing. It says, "The last lap. A filly's tragic end casts a grim spotlight on the sport of kings. 8 Bells died on the altar of the quick buck. About that, even the most stalwart horse racing fans can agree. Andrew Bayer, Dean of America's Racing Writers, explained the death of the Kentucky Derby runner-up by noting that thoroughbreds are, in fact, overbred. They are no longer created with robust careers in mind. Their life goal is a couple of quick wins in Triple Crown races, followed by retirement to a stud farm. Modern commercial breeders produce horses in order to sell them, and if those horses are unsound, they become somebody else's problem," Bayer wrote for the Washington Post. Because buyers want horses with speed, breeders have filled the thoroughbred species with the genes of fast but unsound horses. The sad sight of this beautiful animal collapsing after her courageous effort, her life ended by two shattered front ankles, called up memories of Barbaro, that brilliant colt ruined by a broken leg at the Preakness 2 years ago. Inevitably, people asked if some moral rot has crept into the sport of kings, wherein immature horses are urged to overextend themselves on legs that snap like icicles. But it's only fair to point out that breeders aren't a solitary priesthood. They flip horses the way real estate speculators once flipped condos. With dollar signs in their eyes, they savor 2- and 3-year-old horses exactly the way the fashion industry looks at long-stemmed 14-year-old girls, exactly the way the celebrity culture gazes on Britney and Lindsay and Miley, exactly the way shoe company reps scrutinize boys on basketball courts. Horses, fashion models, teen stars, they're all produced for maximum profit. Every market needs buyers as well as sellers, and that's where the rest of us come in. If horse breeders have stopped raising animals that are sound for the long run, it's because the audience for mature racehorses, like the audience for maturity in general, has vanished. Seabiscuit, over his 89 race career, drew huge crowds season after season. By contrast, this year's Derby winner, Big Brown, will command the public eye for 2 months at best, retiring after the Belmont Stakes in June, provided he lives that long.
Now, you know what I say to that?
What?
That's a bunch of liberal communist claptrap.
It is, but I think it points
Shouldn't
out...
the market decide? I'm kidding. Do you really think it is?
I mean, it's an interesting... It's a liberal analysis in that it's... I mean, it puts the blame on the demand.
Yeah.
That, we don't really care about the horses. That part, yeah.
But I actually think it's really interesting.
It's really interesting because it points out the whole problem of treating these animals like commodities.
That's right.
And property.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that he points out it's just like flipping houses to these people, is flipping horses.
Yeah.
If they're both property, they're both commodities, so why treat them any different?
Absolutely.
There's no reason for these people to do so because they're only in it to make money.
We're a culture that commodifies. So the article points out that we not only commodify animals, we commodify 14-year-old girls and people on the basketball court. We commodify people and animals. It's a commodification. It's a desire to commodify that is kind of the root of our economic and cultural life. And so that commodification isn't that shocking when it comes to animals. I mean,
not at all.
I really think that it's one of the main problems, and I'm glad the article points that out.
I know. I mean, I'm really surprised it makes those connections.
It does.
You know, when you objectify something like that, people or animals or anything, this is what happens. You know, so you can't treat these things like objects.
That's right.
You know, they're not things. They're
You can't treat these creatures like
creatures
objects.
like objects
Yeah.
is what I meant to say. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, but it's a shame because it's indicative of the whole system of animal exploitation because everything works like that. That they're commodities, they're property, they're bred to our specifications. They're bred for us, for our purposes, to make money.
That's right.
And
for our pleasure.
And for our pleasure, and that's it.
Our pleasure and our profit.
Right.
And that's it.
So making a faster thoroughbred has nothing to do with making a better horse. It's making better profit, you know, and our entertainment.
It's making a better horse for a specific purpose.
Exactly.
Which is exactly what we do to the animals that are stuck in industrialized agriculture as well. So, yes, indeed.
So, yeah. So I thought that was interesting.
Cool.
And of course, the whole situation is very, very sad.
It is really sad. I mean, you know, it's gone. I mean, the whole situation is messed up. People have said people say that it has gone too far, but and it has. But it shouldn't even have gone there in the first place.
No. I mean,
That's
the
the
whole
problem.
sport shouldn't even exist.
It shouldn't.
So.
It really shouldn't. Okay, are we gonna do some voicemails?
Yeah.
Time once again for some vegan freak voicemail. Maybe we'll hear from a hot chick
or a choice male.
Callers make us happy and help us keep our sanity, even if all they wanna do is fucking complain about the shitload of profanity.
Hey, vegan freakies. I just wanted to let you know that I'm so glad that you guys finally posted another podcast out because I was waiting forever, so I'm so happy. And I just called you to vent because on Mother's Day, we had to do this family thing, and we had to go out to eat. And, of course, I never get to say where we go because I'm weird or whatever, according to my family. And we went to this buffet, which I figured, okay, I mean, I thought maybe there'd be something I could eat.
A buffet.
But there's nothing. I had to eat a salad. I couldn't eat any of the dressings. They all had dairy in them. I had some button mushrooms, and that was it. I had a piece of iceberg lettuce and tomatoes, and I had to pay $20 for it.
Criminal.
And you know, what the hell? It's so unfair that whenever I go out to eat and I have to order stuff without the meat, they still charge you full price, and I think it's fucked up. And I'm not going out to eat with my family anymore, and I'm only going to go to Noah's Southwest Grill and eat tofu burritos because I'm so sick of paying full price for a piece of lettuce and a mushroom. So there you go. I just had to vent to someone that understands. No, my family gets it. And keep up the good work, and please, please, please do podcasts every week because I just go crazy without them. Love you guys so much. Bye.
Well, thank you so much for the kind words. We're trying to do a podcast every week. The quality may be hit and miss. I think this week we're kind of missing.
But we're got a show out there at least.
Hey, man, with 100 shows almost, you know, you're going to have an occasional swing and a miss. But anyway, the point is, it does suck when that happens. And it's unfortunate that, you know, at a buffet, you'd think you'd be able to find something, right?
I know.
But think about, like, the buffets. Like, remember when we lived in central Pennsylvania, speaking of rural wastelands?
Yeah.
Remember Haas's?
Oh, my God, yeah.
There was nothing.
There was nothing.
I mean,
it would be the same situation. It would be like tomatoes and some iceberg lettuce.
That's about it. Yeah. That's bad news.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a shame because you do want to go, you know, you want to be able to go out to eat with your family and friends. But on the other hand, it's like you want to also not starve.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
But, I mean, a lot of people complain that this is one of the reasons that veganism is so hard. And, you know, it is a major pain in the ass, and it's a shame that it is that way, and I completely understand the frustration. But, you know, it took me a long time to get to this point, but I'm also like, you know what? It's one meal.
Yeah, I mean that's it. It's one meal,
And you're not going to starve.
you're not going to starve.
And
I mean,
it completely sucks. And it would be nice to be able to enjoy a meal with your family just like everybody else does.
yeah,
But at the same time, you're like, all right, well, you'll go and you'll have your iceberg lettuce, and you shouldn't have to pay $20 for it. That's ridiculous,
Yeah.
of course. But you know, then you go out to eat, you'll go to get your tofu burrito afterwards or something. You know,
Right.
so it's like that's what I've come to believe. And it took me a long time to get there. It's like, all right, it's especially because I'm like Miss Grump when I don't eat. It's insanely grumpy.
this is the understatement.
But you know,
of the
you
year.
learn some strategies to survive, like keeping a Lara bar in your purse or whatever.
Well,
And
what if you don't have a purse?
in your man bag,
I have a man bag, baby.
in your pocket.
There you go. You say man bag, I just think of scrotum. I'm sorry. Wow, that was a real kick in the man bag.
Yeah.
I don't know. The people who always say veganism is so hard make me think of this really like sad violin music. You know, it's like I don't know. Not that our caller was saying that.
No, that's not what I was saying.
No, I know
it
you're
just
not.
reminds me of
To be clear.
of these people. Yeah, no, I completely feel your pain. I really do,
I do too.
and I completely understand how frustrating that is. You just want to throttle people. Like, why do you have to, like, put all your vegetables in butter, and why can't you just have
But that's why.
some things that do not have meat in them or dairy or anything?
But that's why I can't be a vegan. It's too hard. It's too hard to go out to eat with people, with my friends, and my family. It's too hard to do the right thing. I just feel so alone.
Anyway, and don't forget, of course.
Sorry. Good.
I was gonna say, don't forget, of course, you can always ask them to make you something.
Well, yeah, but at a buffet.
Not at a buffet, but I mean, other people.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
to the, people who think it's too hard. You can always ask, and you're not making a pain of yourself.
Sure you are. They'll spit in your food.
They might, but
No.
no, sometimes you might be pleasantly surprised.
I've not, even up here in the rural wasteland that we live in, I've not had difficulty going out to eat. So, but I agree with and to be clear, I really want to make sure that our caller understands I'm not making fun of her.
No.
I'm not at all. I'm not saying you're whining or anything.
No.
I agree with you. It sucks. The world needs to change, not you.
Exactly.
Not you, right?
I know.
I'm not saying that you're the problem. I'm just saying that I hear a lot of people say, like, oh, veganism's hard. I can't go out to eat. And I'm like, you know how you aren't often going to be in those situations where you have no other options. Mm-hmm. It happens on occasion, but it's not going to be all the time. So I don't know. That was my whole point about playing.
Yeah, we just get a lot of emails complaining about that. That's all.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do. That was my point behind playing the Hebrew melody, which is really listen, it's just so sad. Doesn't it make you just want to go throw yourself off of a building or
really
something?
sad.
It's like I just imagine a scene being shot in black and white, like grainy black and white with like bombed out buildings, and anyway. Moving on.
Hi, Bob and Jenna. This is Liz. I'm brightly on the forums, even though I suck and never post. And I have a moral quandary for you. I go to a small liberal arts school in Portland, Oregon, and I live off campus because it's cheaper. And I'm going to be a junior this fall, which is more information than you needed. And we have this thing in our cafeteria called the Scrounge, which is this thing where you go in the cafeteria and you get whatever you want to eat, when they actually have an amazing amount of vegan food, which is great, whatever, and you come out and you sit and you eat it, and if you don't finish because they gave you too much food or you're not that hungry or whatever, you go and put it on this half-height wall, like in the middle of the cafeteria, and those people that live off campus come and scrounge, and they eat your leftovers, and then there's less waste. So as a...
That sounds very diseased.
It does.
Like a disease vector to me.
Yeah.
But anyway.
broke college student who is vegan. And I just want to know, logically, I feel like I wouldn't be creating a demand for any sort of meat or animal byproduct. But I also think it would be gross to eat that. But it would also be cheap and wouldn't, I'm not buying it. It's already been bought and the responsibility has been laid, and I just don't know what to think. So, thanks. You guys rock. I love your podcast, and have a lovely day. Bye.
Well, thank you. I mean, from a perspective of waste, that sounds like a nice idea, but it also sounds a little gross to me.
Too.
Knowing, I mean, I don't even like to go to our university cafeteria because of the disease that comes from the students coughing on the salad bar.
Really?
So I couldn't even imagine like unfinished food. But let's just assume that there are no concerns about disease vectoring here. What do you think, dear Jenna?
So, I mean, I'm not quite sure if you're asking, would it be okay to eat the meat and dairy just because it's free? Is that what you're asking? Or
That's what it
is in
sounds like.
general? I don't. Then go ahead, but then wouldn't consider you a vegan.
Well, but the caller is right to point out that it does not, from her perspective, on her end, it does not create the demand.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you pay for it. It doesn't matter if it's free.
Right.
It was an animal that was killed. And you, by being a vegan, like we talked about this last week with the leather, the used leather. It's the same situation.
I think so too.
It's that, you're doing it as a protest against this whole system of exploitation, and you don't need it to live, so therefore you shouldn't eat it.
I think being a vegan is about sending the message that one can exist healthfully and well without animal products. And I think that if you consume animal products, even if they're free or they're trash or anything, you undermine that essential ethical component of veganism. So someone could give you the animal products, you could find them, you could get them out of a dumpster. I don't think any of that really changes the equation. You're not creating the demand, but I mean, I almost think that's beside the point in a sense. You're still sending the message that these things are food, and they aren't.
Nope.
So I would not eat those things, and I wouldn't eat them even if they were free. And I think that's part of what being a vegan is. I don't really know what's complicated about it. I mean, from my perspective, it's a very easy moral. I don't think there's a quandary there. I think it's a very easy situation in a lot of regards. So, I mean, I understand, like, you're poor, you're a college student, you don't have a lot of money, but nothing's cheaper than beans and rice, man. Not a whole lot.
Well, although anymore, rice,
that's true.
Rice is getting expensive.
Yeah, but still.
To
the average consumer in the United States, rice is not getting expensive.
Yeah.
So I think that in that situation, there's no reason to consume those products. And it also sends a very confusing message because, like we said last week, part of being a vegan is about living that life very consciously and very publicly, in a sense. And so if you're a vegan, you say, oh, I'm a vegan, and you go out and you eat dairy products. Let's say I'm a vegan, and someone sees you eating an egg or an ice cream cone or some kind of shit from this recycling, whatever it was called, thing. It sends a very confusing message to people. And I think that sabotages actually the whole message of veganism, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's my take.
Yeah. Now, if you want to go and find some leftover pieces of fruit or veggies, go for it.
Hey, whatever, man. The germs are yours to love.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. This is Leanne. Hebe on the forums. This is probably like the third voicemail about you guys this week, but I just keep coming across all this, like, interesting shit. So I was at work today, and I work for a very large chain of bookstores in this country. And a coworker brings me a book, and it's called Meat, A Love Story by Susan Bourette, B-O-U-R-E-T-T-E, Bourette, I believe it is. And I'm going to read to you what it says this book is about. It says, after spending a week working undercover at a slaughterhouse and being tormented by blood, the stink, and the squeals of animals being herded to their death, author Susan Bourette decided to go vegetarian. That lasted 5 weeks and 37 hours. Dissatisfied with tofu and lentils, Bourette wondered, is there a way to have my meat and a clear conscience too? It's a question that will resonate with millions of happy carnivorous Americans. We will eat more meat per capita than any other nation who are unwilling to give up steak for soy, but are alarmed about mad cow disease, E. coli poisoning, and the filthy, inhumane conditions on chicken and cattle farms. So basically, this lady worked at a slaughterhouse undercover as a reporter, and she was there for about 4 days. And after 4 days, she couldn't take it anymore because she couldn't stand to see the suffering of the animals. She couldn't stand, being around all this death. She goes vegetarian, but, vegetarian food just wasn't satisfying enough for her to stick with it. So she's trying to make a point in this book that she can eat meat and still have a clear conscience and know about animal rights and all that. And I think it's just the biggest load of bullshit ever. I'm actually very, very tempted to read this book. And if I have, I'll probably, if I have the time, I'll probably read it on my breaks. There's no way I'm going to buy this fucking book for this lady money because she's an idiot. But, we get to read books while we're on breaks and stuff. So I'll probably read that. And if I get around to that soon, then I will
give us a review.
Call back and let you know what this lady has to say. Take care, you guys. Bye.
I think a couple other people have mentioned that book to us in email as well. It's amazing that the lengths that people will go to try to make themselves feel better about eating meat.
I know.
It's amazing to me.
It really is.
Like, even after you've spent time in a slaughterhouse and you still can't convince yourself to go vegetarian, it's like, I want to care, but I don't care that much.
You know what I say to those people?
You guys can both eat my ass, okay?
That's what I think.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, man. It's just... It's so deep in our psyches. It's so hard. It is really hard for a lot of people to get beyond that.
I know.
Because, ultimately as human beings, we're social creatures and we're always led to a lot. I mean, I think we're animals with a herd instinct, unfortunately, which is bad. I mean, I sound very Nietzschean saying that, right? But I think we're animals with a herd instinct, and you go against the herd, you get in trouble.
You do.
So I think a lot of people are just hesitant to go against the herd.
Well, and there are a lot of psychological blocks that people have put up over the years to be able to eat meat.
It's true.
And it's hard to break them down.
Yeah.
And then, to go against the grain, like you just said. So it's so social and psychological reasons for it, and it's hard, I know. But
it's not that hard.
It's not that hard. If you know about it and you care about it, it shouldn't be hard. I
think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, you have more to say?
There was something I wanted to say. No, I forgot.
No, we would. If you do, if Leanne, if you read that book, let us know. Get a review. Get a review to us. Be curious to hear what you think of it.
Go ahead,
yeah.
But what these happy meat people always forget, she saw the horror of the slaughterhouse, is that all animals, happy or not, end up in the same slaughterhouses, and they die same horrible deaths.
They do indeed.
So yeah.
Look, there are nicer ways to slaughter than there are nicer and not so nice ways to slaughter animals, but either way, you're dead. So I think it's ridiculous. But moving on.
Hi, vegan freaks, Bob and Jenna. This is Vegan Opera Diva from the forums, though I don't post enough.
Do you actually sing? Are you?
She does.
Yeah. Oh, we should get her to record like a, not vegan in an opera voice or something.
That'd be great.
That'd be great. Okay.
Whatever. I'm calling to share some good news. Today is my 3-year vegan anniversary. I don't really have a whole lot of people to share that with because I am an opera singer and a classical musician, and I'm the only vegan classical musician I've ever met. So anyway, I thought you guys would like to share in the joyous day that it is for me.
Awesome.
Okay. Woohoo! Thanks for the new podcast, and I just became a subscriber. It's about damn time. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Thank you for calling and letting us know and for subscribing, and congratulations. Get some clapping going here.
Yeah, congratulations, and
it's great news.
I'm glad we could share that with you, and so I thought we should share that with everybody else too.
Absolutely, and it's always good to know that, to hear someone be vegan for a couple years. I think once you're vegan for a couple of years, it's like it's there. You're going back.
Yeah.
I envision a day for myself when I'm no longer involved with anything that deals with writing about animal rights or doing a radio show or there will come a day when I shut down the forums and unplug the server and walk away, right? But I am certain I will always be vegan.
Yes.
Like I may not always be involved in animal rights movement, but I am certain that I will always be vegan.
Of course.
I can't imagine any other way. I'm viscerally repulsed by animal products. Like I find them pretty disgusting, actually.
Me too.
So, I think once you're vegan for a couple of years, you're pretty set. There are a lot of ex-vegans out there, but most of them have been vegan for years. They're mostly people like, I'm trying to be vegan once for a week. It was too hard. It was way too hard. It was difficult. I had to, not eat meat for a whole week. Yeah. But anyway, congratulations. Good stuff.
Yeah.
So, let me play the voicemail closing theme, yes?
267-295-1944. Write the number down on your refrigerator door. Add the 001 country code if you call us from Vienna. That's how you leave a voicemail for good old Bob and Jenna.
So.
Is it?
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
That wasn't our best show.
Always critical of the shows that we do. We shouldn't be.
I know.
As critical as we are.
I know.
We're our toughest critic.
We are, I think.
Yeah.
But
anyway, it's a show,
it's
right?
A show.
And whatever, it's a show. We'll be back next week with another show with more planning and thought involved.
Yes.
But yeah. So anyway, you can get in touch with us. You know the ways.
267-295-1944.
Email.
Show at veganfreakradio.com.
What else?
Website.
Smoke signals?
Yeah, sure, that'll work.
No, it won't. Not unless you're really close by. What else?
What's our website address? veganfreakradio.com. Something like
You
that.
don't even know our web.
I had it bookmarked. So
you don't know our URL?
I have it bookmarked.
I hate when people call it URLs. Anyway, we are done, and I'm going to go play with the alarm.
Okay,
I have it right here. Listen, I have it.
Okay.
One more time.
All right.
Everybody else can enjoy it.
Ooh, it sounds like it's dying
It's
there.
dying. It's having a hard time.
Yeah.
There it goes.
There you go.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
You gonna kill me? You sure?
Yes.
Because I don't eat meat and I don't eat dairy.
I don't know about the sensitive new age vegan. It's a little segment we do. It's meant as a joke. Some people took it very seriously, I think, very oddly. Because I came on, I was talking about aligning chakras and stuff, man, and energies, and I played some crazy music in the background. That was probably about 30 or 20 shows ago.
That was a long time ago.
So anyway, it was probably around show 70 or something, 20 shows ago. But if you have ideas you'd like to talk about, let us know. And things aren't as they used to be. Things are never as they used to be.
No, they aren't.
So anyway, what we have for you this week are a couple articles that come out of the conventional press. And as you know, we've bitched and moaned on here before about Newsweek and Time, and we have things for you from Newsweek and Time.
Well, I think it's interesting, though. I've seen an uptick in articles in the conventional press about food. I think because of the global food crisis and the prices rising, and milk and meat are really expensive. But of course, grain's also expensive. That's why milk and meat are expensive. It's grain, but
yeah, in the MSM, the mainstream media.
Ew. Okay.
Are you not down with the internet fucking intelligentsia, man?
No, I'm not down with your lingo.
Coming to you from the rural wasteland of northern New York, it's Vegan Freak Radio number 91 on the 20th of May, 2008.
Coming to you from high atop their elite fortress of moral superiority, here are your protein-deficient hosts, Bob and Jenna.
Hello, everybody.
This is Bob.
And Jenna.
And we're back again for another edition of Vegan Freak Radio. The moral fortress, the elite fortress of moral superiority. The only place we can afford the real estate for it is in the rural wasteland of northern New York. And it really is a rural wasteland.
It is.
It really is.
But, you know, it's at least a lot more bearable now that it's, like, slightly warmer than before.
Yeah, you know, you see like -20, and now it's like 40. The Imperial U.S. death machines flying over our house because there's a military base about, 90 minutes away.
Uh-huh.
And they fly, just so you know, they fly practice runs over where we live.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes they fly so low we can see the details on the plane.
Yes, they have that. People come outside because it really shakes the entire house. What they do is there's a river. We live across the street from a river. And as you know, there are people who live, if you've listened to the show long enough, you know there are people across the street from us who have babies that should be eaten by dingoes. But well, there's a river. It's a big river, and there are a lot of dams and bridges on it. And so what I was told they do is fly training missions up and down the river, locking on to the dams and the bridges.
It's target practice.
Yeah, it's target practice. So anyway, I hope they don't blow up any of the bridges I need to get out of here because it's bad enough to be stuck here. Anyway, this article, if you do hear the American death machines, if you're a U.S. citizen, your tax dollars hard at work. If you're not, run and hide because they're coming for you next. Anyway, a chain that pigs would die for. Chipotle Mexican Grill insists on humanely raised meat. And I'll just read you. I mean, the article's interesting. Or, I don't know, what the hell would that be in Celsius?
I don't know.
Jeez.
You know what? We lived in Spain for a year, and we live right next to Canada, and we listen to the CBC all the time, and I still cannot do the Celsius Fahrenheit conversion.
I know roughly.
I vaguely know like where things are, but you know, I couldn't tell you what 40 degrees is.
What is 40 degrees? I know room temperature's around 20-ish, right? So, you know.
Yeah,
I know
like 15 Celsius is pretty bearable.
Well, it's about
like
15.
60.
I'm looking right now. It's actually colder in Flint. Oh, anyway, people don't give a shit about our fucking weather.
No, they don't.
It's about 15 degrees here.
Okay.
Right now. Okay, quick show this week because, I don't know. We told you we'd be back every week. Whether we have a lot or we have a little, we're going to be back.
Yeah, some weeks we'll have a lot, and this week we have a little.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to think about, like, maybe doing a sensitive New Age vegan segment. Or maybe doing a things aren't as they used to be segment. But I was kind of busy today, and I didn't really have the time to put it together. So if you have any ideas for what you would like to hear from a sensitive New Age vegan segment, if you have questions about aligning your chakras, or like for those of you that don't...
Go, man.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, there are actually, I think, more articles sort of analyzing the whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a couple of them.
Am I going first, or are you going
Sure,
first?
go ahead.
I'll go first. As you might find shocking, this article is about...
Happy meat.
Yes, the voice of Vegan Freak Radio. We will... Actually, if you have any good suggestions for the voice of Vegan Freak Radio, we'd like to get him back to do our voice talent back to do some good things, too.
Yeah.
Anyway, this article is called... wait for it. A chain that pigs would die for.
It's of course not so funny because they actually do.
I know. And the kind of second title is, Can Food Be Fast and Fastidious? Chipotle Mexican Grill insists on humanely raised meat. And there's a picture in the article of many, very happy looking... Jesus Christ.
Can you hear? I wonder if they can hear that.
I don't think so.
No, it's not registering.
Maybe now. Anyway, it is